It was an incredibly powerful victory.
It's not the end, it's a beginning.
Now at 6, former state senator Randy Fine will now become Congressman Randy Fine after winning the District 6 special election last night. How he and his top competitor are reacting to the race and what it means for Washington.
Plus, the man accused of raping women at bus stops in Pine Hills will be in court for the first full day of testimony. Who we know will testify for prosecutors.
And the head of the company which runs the Orlando airport is stepping down. Why the CEO says this decision was for the best.
WESH 2 News Sunrise starts right now.
Good morning on this Wednesday. Thanks for starting your day with the Sunrise team. I'm Meredith McDonough.
And I'm Jason Guy. We want you to check something out. Look up at this video from our tower camera right at Lake Monroe. You can see we had lightning really creating quite a show in the skies. Those severe storms packing a punch overnight in Central Florida. And we want to turn to first warning meteorologist Kellyanne Class because all that has settled down for us this morning, Kellyanne. But heat is going to be with us today.
Yeah, and it's no surprise we had those showers and thunderstorms because we had a lot of heat yesterday. Yesterday was the hottest day of the year here in Orlando. We officially reached 90 degrees. The last time we reached 90 degrees in Orlando was back on October 5th. Now, we're a little bit ahead of schedule. The average first 90-degree day in Orlando is right around April 8th, so we were a little bit ahead of schedule, but nothing compared to last year when our first 90-degree day temperature happened on March 9th. Today here in Orlando, 89 degrees. If you're west of the metro, you are expected to reach the low 90s and our coastline in the mid-80s. We'll have the upper 80s again tomorrow, but then warmer conditions. We'll talk about those details coming up in a few minutes. First, though, let's get over to first warning traffic expert Megan Mackey.
Kellyanne, taking a live look right now at State Road 408. If you're heading out the door near the Conway Toll Plaza, no issues along the 408 corridor. This is a live look here. You can see that Toll Plaza, no delays in either direction, and also no crashes along our interstates or highways. There is a crash, though, in DeLand I'm monitoring just off of I-4. It's in between I-4 and US 1792. So there is a roadblock reported here, and this is a crash with some injuries. So I would avoid traveling there. You can use Orange Camp Road or Graves Avenue as a detour in DeLand. I'll continue to monitor this crash, and our chopper is lifting this morning. We'll bring you those live pictures coming up in a few minutes.
Now to Commitment 2025. Randy Fine is going to Washington, D.C. The former state senator won the special election last night to replace former Congressman Mike Waltz.
Now the race got a lot of attention nationwide. Democrat Josh Weil received 43% of the vote in the heavily Republican district. Paola Tristan Arruda is joining us now. Paola, Fine now plans to head to Washington, D.C. today.
Yeah, Maren, we spoke to both Fine and Weil last night after those election results. So we want to go ahead and show you that. Fine beat Weil by fewer than 14 percentage points in a district President Donald Trump won by 30 points in the last election. But he said his numbers couldn't be considered an underperformance. He was asked what Tuesday's margin potentially says about the district.
It's a special election. You have to look at the turnout. I mean, there were twice as many people that voted. I don't think you can read much into it. We won by double digits. We're super excited. It was an incredibly powerful victory, given that many of you said I was going to lose over the last week, and clearly we showed that wasn't any risk.
Weil, who out-fundraised Fine about $9 million to Fine's $1 million, felt they managed to make this district competitive.
We had hundreds of people who came out and canvassed and knocked doors for the first time. We were neck and neck last I looked, within a tenth of a point of actually winning Volusia County for the first time in God knows when.
Up in the Panhandle, former Florida Chief Financial Officer Jimmy Patronis won Matt Gaetz' old seat. With both of those wins, Republicans pad their majority in the U.S. House. They will have 220 seats compared to Democrats' 213 seats. 2 seats are currently vacant after 2 Democratic representatives died last month. Mayor?
Ahead in our next half hour, we will look at the results from 2 other elections that happened yesterday and dive deeper into how these elections will affect both our state and national legislature.
This morning, WESH 2 News will be in court for the first full day of testimony in the trial of an accused serial rapist. Investigators say Nelson Odige, the man that you see here, attacked several women, they say, at bus stops in Orange County. WESH 2's Bob Hazen is live for us at the courthouse. And Bob, we heard from some of the alleged victims in court yesterday.
Yeah, and all of those victims had said basically the same thing, that they were waiting at the bus stop when a man came up to them out of nowhere and then attacked them. Montage was arrested in 5 separate criminal cases for each attack, and today we expect to hear from a 4th victim along with deputies and DNA experts. In this case, Montage is charged with sexual battery with a weapon along with kidnapping. Covering Orange County, live in Orlando, Bob Hazen, WESH 2 News.
The Orlando Aviation Authority will soon be under new leadership after the CEO announced his resignation last September. Yesterday, Kevin Tebow gave his final interview.
And WESH's traffic expert Megan Mackey was there yesterday. Megan, there are some exciting things that are going to be coming to MCO here.
Yeah, there are, including hopefully some relief for drivers when it comes to parking. They are currently working to move all the rental cars to a different facility to free up parking spaces in the 3 garages that they have there at MCO. Tebow says under his tenure, Brightline started service from the airport, and one of his biggest hurdles was opening Terminal C back in September 2022.
We were moving JetBlue, pretty much almost all the internationals, and we did it in a structured approach, and that part was fine. But it was literally sitting down and saying, what are we missing?
Tebow also says we could look forward to a Terminal D in the future as the airport continues to grow. Currently, it's the 7th largest in the nation. A replacement has already been tapped to serve as the new CEO. His name is Lance Little, and he could start as soon as this month if contract negotiations are successful.
Okay. All right, Megan. And the weather today, another hot one, guys. For all the folks that are flying into MCO, welcome to Central Florida because you're in for a treat, especially if you're in a cold climate.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to be into the upper 80s today. Yesterday, we reached 90 degrees for the first time this year. Hopefully that's not a sign for things to come, but it's almost on average. Our average first 90-degree day temperature in Orlando is April 8th. The earliest last year was about March 9th when we had that first 90-degree a day temperature. Right now, let's get you out the door. We'll look at our tower cam network in Daytona Beach. We have a little bit of fog settling on in. We're down to about a 4-mile visibility there, a 0-mile visibility in Palm Coast, and now less than a 1.5 mile visibility in Titusville. So for today, we'll have a mix of sun and clouds, temperatures warming up into the upper 80s and low 90s, all thanks to high pressure that's out in the Atlantic. But we have this cold front that's beginning to work through parts of Texas and the plains. This is going to provide some severe weather today from Chicago all the way down to Texas. So if you're traveling today, be aware they are set up for a big severe weather outbreak later on. But here locally, things are nice and quiet, though we do have some rain in the forecast. We'll have those details coming up in a few minutes.
Next on Sunrise, 4 arrests have been made in connection to this South Carolina wildfire, which has burned more than 13,000 acres. The teens involved in what officials say they did to spark those flames.
Plus, the White House says it's Liberation Day, the rollout of new wide-ranging tariffs, and experts are warning of higher costs for you.
Good morning. The time is 6:13 on our Wednesday morning, and our stretch of summertime heat continues today and tomorrow with high temperatures in the upper 80s and even some spots in the low 90s. But soon we'll have cooler air along with some rain. We'll have those details in Central Florida's certified most accurate forecast coming up in a few minutes.
New details are emerging this morning. Authorities in South Carolina say 4 people are now facing charges in connection to this wildfire. Look at some of the video of what's burning there at Table Rock State Park. A 19-year-old and 2 18-year-olds, along with a juvenile, were all taken into custody yesterday. Authorities say they've been charged with negligently allowing fire to spread to lands or property of another. According to the arrest documents, the suspects allegedly took part in smoking activities on a hiking trail at the state park and didn't extinguish their cigarettes in a proper and safe manner, which officials allege led to the ignition of the Table Rock fire. This wildfire erupted in mid-March and has scorched more than 13,000 acres so far. Containment of the wildfire is now at 30%. We're also learning this morning that a big fuel source for this fire and others are the fallen trees left behind from Hurricane Helene.
In normal situations, you have a buildup of litter or dust that, can certainly serve as fuel. But in this case, we had a lot of dry wood that was on the ground, and it just magnified the intensity of the fires.
Officials tell us it's impossible to remove all the debris, but they are trying to conduct controlled burns to help mitigate it. And speaking of hurricanes, this is your reminder, our hurricane season is less than 2 months away. That countdown there at 59 days and some hours and minutes to go. You can see our WESH 2 forecast for the season right now on WESH.com.
The CEO of Boeing will testify before Congress today. Kelly Ortberg will appear before the Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation. It's expected that he will tell the panel that his company's recent missteps are unacceptable. Boeing has worked with the Federal Aviation Administration for more than a year to implement safety and quality changes. Now, this follows several mishaps over the past few years, including 2 crashes of Boeing's 737 MAX jets. Those crashes killed 346 people.
President Trump has dubbed this Liberation Day as he is set to announce wide-ranging tariffs in the day ahead against U.S. trading partners.
And some experts say that the new taxes will hurt consumers' wallets in the near future. Now, the White House arguing that these tariffs will bring short-term pain for long-term gain.
April 2nd, 2025 will go down as one of the most important days in modern American history.
The Trump administration is promising more domestic production and jobs in return, as economists warn that the move could plunge consumer spending into a downturn, costing the average household up to an extra $4,200 a year.
Consumers are about to get punched in the face by the president, and there's really nothing that they can do to prepare for that.
And now the experts say that several items will be affected.
President Trump is threatening to increase tariffs on steel up to 45%. A 25% tax has been in place since mid-March.
And tariffs could also be placed on medications, meaning it may cost even more for essential health products.
Bad news for us early morning risers. Imported coffee prices could also go up. Experts say as much as 45%.
If you were hoping to build a new home soon, unfortunately, builders say that lumber is going to cost more. President Trump and his cabinet will speak from the Rose Garden this afternoon about how these new tariffs will work. The announcement is scheduled just after the stock market closes. Ahead at 6:30, we will talk more about how these tariffs could impact us locally and everything from cars to liquor prices.
Okay, it is 6:18. Let's turn our attention to your first warning weather. And we had heat yesterday. We really got steamy. And even in the midst of seeing storms and gray skies, Kellyanne, we got up to 90 degrees.
For the first time in 2025. Yeah, this is a little bit ahead of schedule. Our average first 90-degree day is April 8th. Last year, it was March 9th. So at least it wasn't in March. It was closer to that average day. If we warm up 1 more degree today, we could reach 90 degrees for the second time this year. But right now, I do have a forecast high of 89 degrees. Now, if you're not a fan of the heat, I do have good news in store. Next week, on Tuesday, our temperatures are going to drop into the 70s and 80s. It's all thanks to another cold front that's going to move in Monday into Tuesday. So your weekend is looking fine. It's just going to be hot. And then Monday into Tuesday, here comes that cold front bringing us showers and thunderstorms. Right now, no rainfall to track, but we are still seeing a little bit of fog out there. Here's a look at our Tower Cam network in Daytona Beach, where you can see a little bit of the haze on the skyline. But then in the upper levels of the atmosphere, we have clear conditions. We're down a 4-mile visibility in Daytona, a 0-mile visibility in Palm Coast, and almost about a half-mile visibility in Titusville. So just expect some fog this morning. Otherwise, it's very warm and humid with temperatures in the 60s and 70s. So as you get the kids ready for school, no need for that rain gear this morning, but just take it easy around the bus stops, especially in Flagler County this morning. By the time that you pick the kids up from school, it's going to be hot. Temperatures from Orlando and on east into the middle and upper 80s. If you are west of the metro today, you are going to reach the low 90s. While mostly sunny conditions for the rest of the day ahead, not really expecting any rainfall in the forecast today, all thanks to high pressure that's centered out in the Atlantic. That's going to keep us dry again tomorrow, but still hot. Just like today, if you're west of I-95, we'll be into the upper 80s and 90s, although Ocala, you're going to be the hottest at 93 degrees. Central Florida's certified most accurate forecast shows a really dry stretch now through Sunday and hot stretch as well, with high temperatures in the upper 80s and low 90s. Low 90s for Monday ahead of the arrival of that front. A couple of showers are possible, up to a 30% coverage, with more rainfall arriving on Tuesday. It is 6:21. Let's get over to first warning traffic expert Megan Mackey.
Kellyanne, heading out the door. I'm continuing to monitor this crash into land. It is along State Road 472. It's just off of I-4 traveling towards US 1792. So a roadblock is reported here by FHP because of this crash with some injuries. I would either take Orange Camp Road or Graves Avenue as a detour in that area. That is the only big crash though right now that I'm monitoring for your morning drive. I'm also tracking that fog that Kellyanne was was mentioning, this is a live look in Palm Coast. I-95 close to US 1. You can see the fog in those lights there this morning. So reduced visibilities. Make sure you're allowing for some extra time this morning. Always have those low beam headlights on, and you can use the right edge of the road as a guide when that fog is really thick. But not really looking like that this morning, at least in our cameras in that area. Those travel times as well are starting to pick up near those theme parks. Eastbound along I-4 from US 27 to the beach line, we're at 27 minutes.
We don't necessarily enjoy playing each other. You know, it's not something you know that excites us. But at the same time, when you're doing it in the Final Four, it's a little different.
Two friends are turning foes this weekend as Florida faces Auburn in the NCAA tournament. Florida's head coach and Auburn's head coach go way back.
Yeah, but this Saturday, the history of that friendship's out the window as the Gators try to reach the national championship. That story and the others coming out of this weekend's Final Four game next on Sunrise.
Closed captioning is sponsored by Advent Health.
6:26 now, and we sure hope that you like dogs.
Yeah, because coming up on Sunrise, we have plenty of pups that are going to grace your TV screen. The reunions, new rules, and life commemorations placing pups center stage.
First warning weather on WESH 2 is sponsored by Advent Health.
Testimony continues this morning in the trial of an accused rapist, who prosecutors say he targeted as the jury hears from victims.
Plus, the results are in for two local elections in Brevard County.
Well, without the prospect of eminent domain, it would have just been continue on with creating new hybrids and rare fruits.
And a Seminole County farmer says the future of his farm is in the hands of the Central Florida Expressway Authority. We'll explain how a new connector road could impact it.
WESH 2 News Sunrise starts right now.
It's 6:30. Good Wednesday morning. Thanks for starting it with your Sunrise team. I'm Jason Guy.
And I'm Meredith McDonough. Lots to get to, but let's start with the check of the forecast. First warning meteorologist Kellyanne Class is here. And Kellyanne, really, it's just been a warm week.
It really has. Yesterday was the hottest day so far this year at 90 degrees. It's also the first 90-degree day temperature here in Orlando of 2025. Today, we're going to be hot. We already have some leftover heat from all of that yesterday. And we're also keeping a close eye on our tower cam networks because we're keeping an eye on some fog. Mostly clear conditions from this viewpoint, but closer to the surface, you can see this thin layer of fog developing in Daytona Beach. We're down to about a 4-mile visibility there, almost a half-mile visibility in Titusville. It's a 0-mile visibility in Palm Coast and an 8-mile visibility here in Orlando. 60s and 70s to start. This afternoon, we are heating up into the upper 80s Orlando and between I-95. Along I-95 today, we will be in the mid-80s, and if you're west of the metro, expect to see highs in the low 90s. We'll talk much more about what else we can see later on this afternoon. First, though, let's get over to first warning traffic expert Megan Mackey.
Kelly and I'm monitoring that fog, and some of our cameras this morning are choppers unable to lift because of those low clouds. This is a live look at the beach line. Fortunately, not looking like a big issue here close to Narcoossee, so heading to Orlando International. A nice, good start here, but there is a crash I wanted to show you here along I-4. It's westbound right near the Lee Road exit, blocking off the two right lanes, so delays in this area. You can always hop in those express lanes closer to Longwood. This is a live look from our tower camera at WESH 2. I also wanted to mention this crash in DeLand. It's along State Road 472, just off of I-4. You can use Orange Camp Road or Graves Avenue as a detour. We'll check in with some of the travel times along I-4 coming up in about 15 minutes.
Today, this man will be back in court for the first full day of testimony in a rape trial. This morning, we expect to hear from another victim of accused serial rapist Nelson Odige.
He is on trial for a series of alleged attacks that terrorized women at Orange County bus stops 2 years ago. WESH's Bob Payson is live at the Orange County Courthouse. Bob, the victims all had very similar stories.
Yeah, they all said that they were waiting at a bus stop when a man came up to them with his face covered, wearing a mask, and attacked them.
The results are in for two special primary races in Brevard County after the state lawmakers who were in those seats will now vacate them. Paola Tristan Arruda joins us this morning. And Paola, these primaries were just for Republicans.
Yeah, that's right, Mayor. That's because only one Democrat applied to these races. So the decision on who to send to the general election only laid on the Republican side. One of the races was for Florida House District 32, covering southern Brevard County. Brian Hodgers edged out a victory in the Republican primary primary, projected to win with 35% of the vote. This is Debbie Mayfield's seat, which she will hold until June. But she will be moving right into a new role. Mayfield is projected to win the Republican primary to fill Randy Fine's seat in Florida Senate District in District 19. She won with 60% of the vote. Fine is leaving his seat to head to Washington. He won Mike Waltz's old seat in the U.S. House with just over 56% of the vote. This district has long been red and was won by both President Trump and former Rep. Mike Waltz by 30 points. Trump writing on Truth Social last night. Congratulations, Randy. A great win against a massive cash avalanche. Fine's main opponent, Josh Weil, had out-fundraised the Republican $9 million to Fine's $1 million. Now, Fine is expected to head to Washington today, and meanwhile, Republican Jimmy Patronis won Matt Gaetz' old seat up in the Panhandle. Now, Gaetz resigned after Trump had originally tapped him to be Attorney General, but he ended up not taking that position. Both Patronis and Fine will join the recent Florida takeover of the U.S. government after several Floridians were brought in as part of Trump's cabinet. Mayor?
And you can trust WESH 2 News to help you keep track of all the current and upcoming elections. Just go to our website, WESH.com, and click on the Politics tab. Today, people in Seminole County have a chance to learn more about a plan to connect State Road 417 to the Sanford Airport.
Now, this plan is coming with some pushback. We want to bring in our traffic expert, Megan Mackey. She joins us now in studio. Megan, there are two options on the table.
Yeah, and that pushback comes because it runs right through a farm. One of those options does. Adam Schafferin is the owner of Flying Fox Fruit. He says his 3.5-acre farm is in danger of becoming an expressway to the airport. Routes 2 and 3D are here on the map in green and dark blue. The main two options being considered. But the Central Florida Expressway Authority is also considering the refinement of 2A, which you can see here in the purple. The future of Schafferin's farm depends on which one route they choose.
You got to figure out what this is all worth. And that to me is the hard part, because if you have plants here that I've, created or selected, how's the appraiser going to know what it even is?
Tonight's public meeting begins at 6 o'clock at the Galileo School on Skyway Drive in Sanford. Mayor?
All right, well, time right now, 6:39. Another warm day here. Kind of seems like we're on the repeat mode with this weather forecast. But changes are coming.
Yeah, you know it. Let's talk about the heat as we get to first warning. Meteorologist Kellyanne Class, and some cooler air maybe next week.
Yeah, that's the thing that I feel like we're all looking forward to. Unfortunately, today, no cool air. If you see a temperature of 82 degrees, you're most likely going to be in Flagler County, northern Volusia County along our coastline. Most of our spots today inland will reach the upper 80s and low 90s. Over the next couple of days, we'll have this area of high pressure centered over the Atlantic. That's going to keep our wind directly out of the southeast. So it's going to pump in the heat, but it's also going to pump in the moisture. Now, technically, now through Friday, we'll be on our comfortable category on the muggy meter, and then we'll start to fall down to the pleasant category on Saturday, but it's still going to feel very humid outside. And then we have those changes. We are talking cooler air along with some rain. We'll talk about that coming up in just a few minutes.
Today, President Trump says that he is going to transform global trade with sweeping new tariffs.
We go over the impacts that experts say you could feel in your wallet. Plus, a pilot program that allowed beachgoers to bring their dogs with them will become permanent. The stretch of land where pups will be free to play. Megan.
There's a crash along I-4 in Winter Park, creating some big backups for those westbound drivers. I'll talk about where to hop in those express lanes to get a faster route, and also those travel times being impacted coming up here straight ahead. Welcome back. It is 6:43. We have a traffic alert for you. There is a bad crash in Winter Park along I-4 westbound. It is blocking off the 2 lanes. If you are one of those drivers traveling from Seminole County into Orange County this morning, you're going to be sitting in quite a bit of traffic. This is a live look at those regular lanes along I-4, just passing by Longwood, State Road 434. So my recommendation traveling in Seminole County into Orange is to use those I-4 westbound express lanes. We'll have a look again at these backups and those travel times impacted in just a few minutes.
Breaking overnight news, actor Val Kilmer has died at just 65 years old. Kilmer's daughter says he died yesterday in Los Angeles from pneumonia. Kilmer was launched into the spotlight in his iconic role as Iceman in Top Gun. He took on roles in Batman Forever, Tombstone, and Heat. He was diagnosed with throat cancer in 2014, but returned to the big screen to reprise his Iceman role in Top Gun Maverick in 2023. Okay, let's talk about that first warning weather. Yesterday, we hit 90 in the metro area, and we are just in this stretch of heat.
Yeah, but if your lunch plans or whatever you got going on, try to be in the AC, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, today, upper 80s. If we warm up 1 more degree, we'll reach 90 degrees. Same thing tomorrow, and then we'll still stay in the upper 80s for Thursday as well. And we'll have relatively dry conditions. So if you do have beach plans today, it's looking like a good beach day, but just have that sunscreen on hand. The UV index is going to be at a 10. Now, over the next couple of days, we're still going to stay hot and dry, but starting next week, we track some big changes. We'll have another cold front arriving Monday night into Tuesday, and that's going to bring us some showers and thunderstorms along with cooler air. So we'll go from 89 degrees today to 80 degrees on Tuesday. And many of our coastline on Tuesday those locations will be in the 70s. But for now, this afternoon, we're going to be in the middle and upper 80s from Orlando and on east. If you're west of the metro today, you will be in the low 90s, including 92 in Ocala, the Villages, and in Wildwood. It's also warm this morning. We're in the 60s and 70s. We're also off to a humid start, but the sun is slowly rising, and we're seeing mostly clear conditions, but still a little bit of haze at the surface. We have about a 4-mile visibility in Daytona Beach. It's a 0-mile visibility due to that dense fog in Palm Coast, and almost about a half-mile visibility in Titusville. So as you get the kids ready for school, just know we do have some areas of fog. Otherwise, a nice sunrise, warm and muggy. By the time that you pick the kids up from school, it's going to be hot with our temperatures quickly racing into the upper 80s and low 90s. We'll also have mostly sunny conditions, a mix of sun and clouds later today. Not expecting any rainfall in the forecast, all thanks to an area of high pressure centered over the Atlantic, giving us those nice and dry conditions. Now, if you are heading out to the beach today, not only do you need to be aware that we have a high UV index for today, but we also have a high risk of rip currents because of that strong southeasterly wind. So take that into consideration. Swim near a lifeguard. That'll continue into tomorrow, because tomorrow afternoon, again, we'll have winds out of the southeast at about 15 miles per hour. High temperatures in the mid 80s to the mid 90s. We'll hit 93 degrees tomorrow afternoon in Ocala, and the upper 80s, low 90s continue all the way through Sunday. We'll have a low 90s for Monday with a few isolated showers ahead of that next cold front, but that cold front will swing in on Thursday, bringing in more showers and storms and dropping our high temperatures into the 70s and 80s. It is 6:50. Let's get over to first warning traffic expert Megan Mackey.
Kelly, and I'm still monitoring this crash along I-4 for those drivers in Winter Park. It's impacting those westbound drivers traveling towards downtown Orlando, passing by Lee Road. The crash is blocking off the 2 right lanes here this morning. You can see those brake lights. A lot of congestion is building in this area because of that crash. You can see here a live picture from our tower camera at WESH 2. It is stop and go here just past Maitland. So if you are traveling from Seminole County, that means Lake Mary, Longwood, or even Altamont Springs, traveling towards downtown Orlando, I personally would use those I-4 westbound express lanes for a faster route. You can see here on the map there is some delays, so anticipate that this morning. Looking like FHP is working quickly to get it cleared, but it is impacting those travel times. So let's take a look at those. I-4 westbound from Altamont Springs to the turnpike because of that crash. Normally it's 12 minutes. Right now it is 23. It is 6:51 on your Wednesday. Your top stories are straight ahead.
Closed captioning is sponsored by Advent Health.
We're back on this Wednesday morning at 6:54.
Our Sunrise team is getting you a final check of this morning's top news, weather, and traffic, starting with breaking traffic news. Megan.
Yeah, there is a big issue along I-4 for those drivers in Winter Park traveling westbound. This crash working to clear, involving 3 to 4 cars right near that Lee Road exit. So if you're traveling close to Longwood, Lake Mary, traveling towards downtown Orlando, this would be a good time to hop in those I-4 westbound express lanes. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting in quite a bit of traffic.
And getting one final check of our forecast today, starting off with some areas of patchy fog. Otherwise, it's warm with temperatures in the 60s and 70s. We're quickly warming up into the 80s and 90s this afternoon with mostly sunny conditions. We're dry and hot all the way through Sunday with a high of 92. Monday, 90 degrees with a few showers. And our next cold front arrives Tuesday, bringing in showers and thunderstorms, dropping highs into the 70s and 80s.
Today, we expect to hear from another victim of an accused serial rapist. Nelson O'Deege is on trial right now at the Orange County Courthouse. He is accused of sexually assaulting at least 4 women at bus stops along Hiawassee and Silver Star roads in 2023. Some of the victims said that he pointed what looked like a gun at them and demanded money before attacking them.
Randy Fine is heading to Washington, D.C. The former state senator won the special election last night to replace former Congressman Mike Waltz. Fine beat Democratic Josh Wheel by fewer than 14 percentage points in a district President Donald Trump won by 30 points in the last election. Debbie Mayfield won the Republican primary for Fine's old seat, State Senate District 19. And Brian Hodgers edged out a victory in the Republican primary for State House District 32. This is Debbie Mayfield's current seat, which she will hold until June.
Today, President Trump says he'll unveil sweeping new tariffs. The Trump administration says altogether its tariffs could bring in $6 trillion of revenue over a decade. It's still unclear what the new tariffs entail, but they could affect things from cars to coffee and lumber cost. President Trump will make the announcement today at a gathering in the Rose Garden. We still have 3 more hours ahead for you of course, news, weather, and that breaking traffic.
And Sonica Dunke is here now. Sonica, what's coming up on CW18?
All right, guys, if any of you guys out there are still guilty of using your phone while driving, we have some news for you guys. The rules are about to get a little bit stricter. An expanded hands-free bill is moving ahead in our state legislature. Plus, figuring out where to draw the line in Orange County, how you can weigh in on redistricting later today. And if you have students who go to school in Orange County, the district wants to hear from you. We will talk all about the survey that is now available.
All right, lots coming up. And our WESH 2 sports team is hitting the road today for San Antonio. We are the only local TV station covering the Florida Gators as they play in the Final Four on Saturday. Before the game, you can watch our WESH 2 sports special, Chasing a Championship. That's Friday night at 7:30 right here on WESH 2.
And we thank you for spending your Wednesday with the Sunrise team.
The Today Show is next right here on WESH 2.
Coming up on Today, an inside look at the real ID scramble at DMV offices all over the country with the deadline to get one and the busy summer travel season fast approaching. We'll have everything you need to know this morning on Today.
Closed captioning sponsored by Morgan & Morgan. Dial #law on your cell phone.